Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm Dani Ellison. I'm a trauma recovery coach for Black women. I help them go no contact with abusive, narcissistic parents and thrive. If that sounds interesting to you and you're new here, please subscribe. If you're a returning subscriber, hello, hello. I know it's been such a while since I posted a video, but I have a message this morning for Black women who are currently stuck living a life that they don't want and they can't figure out how to let themselves out of it. So I have some notes here. This download really just came to me the other evening and I wanted to share it with you because I think it's so powerful. And for those who need to hear it, I think this will be a timely message for you. So let's get into it. Right now, if you are someone who needs to go no contact with an abusive parent, but you don't know it, you are living a life that doesn't really suit you. You're going through some motions, in your job, in your relationships. You may not have relationships and want them. You may be in abusive relationships, but you really want healthy ones. And really, everywhere you look, you see some evidence that you're not where you need to be. So you may have been like writing in your journal lately, trying to figure it out. You've probably been bumping your head against the wall, trying to figure out why you're stuck when the messages that you're receiving are about embracing ease and stopping being strong. You're talking about exodus and moving across seas to live your best life. You're talking about generational wealth transfer. You're seeing 222 everywhere, and you know that abundance is meant for you, but you can't seem to embrace that for some reason. And for some of us, our narcissistic abusive parent is why. Okay, you're not going to be able to step into the life you really want for yourself while you're being abused by your parent. It's just not going to happen. And I think so. I've spent this last week or so talking to new Black women, women that I have never met before, about their journey with going no contact or with having a narcissistic parent and not yet making the decision to go no contact, about what their biggest challenges are. And overwhelmingly, what you have to say is that you are trying to meet someone else's expectations about how you're supposed to, you're people pleasing. You're living an entire life for everybody else, hoping to get some approval that you're never going to get from them. And you're serving a system that is outdated and doesn't serve you. It was never meant to honor or respect you. And so, as you are making this transition to embrace a healthier lifestyle, there's some things that you got to let go. I know we've already had that conversation, but your narcissistic parent is one. And I'm speaking specifically to Black women because in our community, not only is talking badly about your mother just completely taboo. I know that's not unique to our culture only, but we are still very much running that track in our minds that says what happens at home stays at home. You don't talk to anybody about what you've experienced. You're meant to accept this and keep it to yourself. You've been conditioned to hold it in. You've been conditioned to stuff it down and silence it. And when you do voice it or try to get attention for it, you get reprimanded or ridiculed. And so I just want to start to normalize that Black women experience narcissistic abuse of the parent. There are so many Black women who have been abused by their mothers specifically. Narcissistic fathers are a part of our community as well. It's huge. It's not minimal, but the majority of women that I speak to talk about being abused by a narcissistic mother that fits one of two profiles. So if you are kind of flirting with this idea, like some of this rhetoric appeals to you, but you're afraid to own the trauma, you're afraid to identify as a victim, you can't even really conceive of going no contact, even though the thought is like sexy to you, you can't imagine what it would take for you to make that decision and stand up for yourself in that way, because it's contrary to everything you have to do to continue living the life that you're living right now. And so I just want to point out to you that it's really not worth saving this life that you don't want to live. If you're waking up every day and you look in the mirror and you don't see yourself there, you don't see the you that you truly are meant to be. You're not happy, you're not thriving, you're not taking care of yourself properly. You are putting your job before you. You're not sleeping. You're not eating well. You probably don't even enjoy the work that you do. The relationships in your life are facilitated and they're all propped up on this expectation that you have to be a good Black woman, that you have to be a strong Black woman, that you are not allowed to fall apart and just be. And so, if that resonates with you, I really encourage you to take a step back and see that the life you want is possible for you. It's right there. There are women living it right now. There's no essential reason why you can't have it, but you are going to have to make some changes. And for some of us, that means refusing to accept the abuse of our mothers. You can't have the loving relationship that you want, that loving husband, that loving partner. You're not going to be able to embrace that and hold space for someone who disrespects and attacks you. It's not going to happen at the same time. And so I know that your healing in this area is very personal. Okay. The trauma is rooted in some very specific instances in your early childhood. They're rooted in experiences you've had that are humiliating to even speak of, to share with someone else. And so you'd rather not uncover that. Is very difficult to move yourself in the direction of confronting that reality because it hurts so much. I understand. Essentially, your childhood had to die for you to come to the place that you're in right now. And we're looking to resurrect it. We need to return to your childhood and uncover that evidence of abuse. You need to see it in clear focus in order to make the difficult decision to go no contact, to quit the job that you don't need, to sell the house that's keeping you in bondage, to stop being strong. In order to embrace that ease that you've never known, you really need to take a hard look at what you've been subjected to. And I know that that is personal to you, but I also want to remind you that it's communal for all of us. That right now, as Black women, we're experiencing a generational transfer of health, of wellness. We are embracing a lifestyle that we've never had the opportunity to live before. And because we're pioneers in that way, we're going to have to take space and some territories alone, at least for a season. And so, yes, your pain, your struggle, your healing is personal to you. And we do need to get personal with the details of your trauma. But I also want you to remember that there are other Black women going through the same healing process alongside of you, that it is hurtful for them the same that it is for you. Your trauma is not so extreme that it isolates you as an anomaly. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing unique about the fact that you've been abused. Okay. You fit into a context, you fit into a profile, and the abuse from your parent fits a script. So if you're new to narcissism, I really encourage you. Um, see, I would honestly recommend that you go and get a copy of my ebook, the Going No Contact Guide. It has everything in there that you would need to get started to educate yourself about narcissism. If you're like absolutely starting from scratch, it is so important to understand the tendencies of the narcissistic parent, because when you can see them for what they are, you learn that it's not personal to you. Okay, so accepting the narcissist is the first step that you have to take to heal from being abused by them. It's the step that you take before you even go no contact. You have to understand that your parent fits a narcissistic profile and that behavior is pathological. So there's nothing that you ever could have done or done better or not have done to change that dynamic in the relationship. It was never you. Okay, it was never about you. Your inner child, the child that you were when you were abused, was never responsible for your parents' behavior or for their lack of adequacy. So as you are embracing that on a personal level, I do want to highlight that this healing, this airing of the dirty laundry is not just about you, it's about all of us as Black women, because we get to heal this trauma that has been passed down to us through the generation. This trauma is directly connected to slavery. Okay, this trauma is the subjugation and the shame and the humiliation that our ancestors didn't have the tools or emotional distance to process. Their best effort was to pass it down. It's the way that they told their story about how they were treated. It was by teaching it to their children, by replicating it. So the only reason that you know what it feels like to be abused is because they knew what it felt like, and they need us to heal that. It's the only way that it gets healed. If you don't heal it in your bloodline and your family, it's not going to get healed until the next person, your child, your grandchildren, pick up that mantle and decide to unravel the trauma, which will be that much deeper because it'll be one or two generations progressed. So I know for some of us, some of you are already parents and trying to figure out, how am I supposed to parent my child without passing this trauma on? I don't know how to be the kind of mother that they deserve, that I want to be. There's a gap there, and I'm doing everything in my power to prevent passing it on to them. And accepting that narcissistic parent and getting really nitty gritty about what was done to you, what happened to you out loud, like it can't be a secret anymore. Those are two of the first things that we're going to have to do to ensure that the trauma doesn't move on to the next generation, that the trauma doesn't go with us to Mexico or Costa Rica or Malaysia or Tokyo or wherever you're going to go live your wonderful life after you cut your ties. Don't take it with you. The life that you're living right now is a gift that your inner child has given you so that you can destroy it. And like it's meant for you to torpedo that false life that you're living right now. And your inner child has set it up so that everything is disposable. Okay. Your healing, your transformation after you go no contact is going to destroy everything about your false life. So before you go book a session, before you decide to get some help, before you start making your plans to pack up and leave, make sure that you accept most of what you have is not going with you. Your healing is coming for this life that you have right now. It's coming for your false identity. It's coming for your job, for your finances. It's coming for your house and all your furniture, for your car, for all the things that you've attached this fake identity to that mirrors this person that you think you need to be to get everyone else's approval. Your healing is going to come shut all that down. Okay. When your healing is said and done, you're going to be a brand new version of yourself. You're going to be a woman that you don't even recognize, but that you've always known somehow. Okay, you haven't seen her, she hasn't actually arrived yet, and yet she's been with you the entire time. You know that she's on your agenda. You know that she's attached to your purpose. You know that you have a purpose and that you can't meet it. You can't step into it as the woman you are right now. So you know something has to change. You just don't understand what that's going to be like. For some of us, the transformation is going to be going no contact with an abusive parent and healing from the trauma. It is time for you to officially reintroduce yourself to yourself and then to everybody else. So you've had to edit yourself to prevent being attacked by your parent, to prevent being outcasted or made the scapegoat, from being shamed. You've had to edit who you are. You're not you right now. And although you may want to be who you truly are, your inner child is not coming out until it's safe. So until you make a safe space, until you baby proof your life and ensure that she can come out and not be made a victim again, she's going to stay suppressed and repressed. You're going to continue living this false shell of a life, and you're going to keep repeating the cycle of abuse in your friendships, in your dating relationships, at work, at church. You're going to repeat that cycle because your inner child is doing everything she possibly can to get you to see her, to acknowledge her, and to hear what she has to tell you. At this point, your inner child, as far as everybody else is concerned, is a thing of the past. She's gone. And they're not looking for her because they have you here to tell the lie that she's here and she's fine. And I don't have to worry about her because there she is. Look at her being strong. She's going to work and holding it down and paying all the bills and raising all the kids and doing all the things. She's fine. So if you're a Black woman who needs to stop being strong, that means it's time to put down some shit that you were never supposed to pick up in the first place. And that abuse from your mom is one of them. Pleasing everybody is one of those things. That's not your job. Those same people, they don't go out of their way to accommodate you. It suits and benefits them if you are willing to silence your inner child and take up their slack so they can be more, it benefits them. And Black women, we're done with the role. So for some of us, coming out of that space means returning to our original bully, the original perpetrator of our boundaries, and backing them up out of our life, making a safe space for us to be and feel safe. Is so basic. And I know what I'm talking about, going no contact with your mother. It's not a small thing. Okay. I know I'm not asking you to do something simple and easy. Okay. I understand that it's tragic, that it's life changing, that it's devastating. And I know that it is a difficult, it's a hard pill to swallow. There's no way around it. And your healing journey is going to hurt. It's not going to be pleasant. Okay. It's going to break you down, but that's what you need, because if you're not being strong, that means you're going to need to fall apart. You've been through the ringer. Yeah, that's maybe why you don't want to put it down, because when you stop being strong, you're going to fall apart. And that's exactly what you need right now. You're going to fall apart. This balancing act that you're putting on for everybody, juggling everything, it's going to fall apart. Your pursuit of Black excellence, it's going to fall apart. You can't do it. And get your healing. It's not going to work. So, with that said, I encourage you now, if you're not ready right now for no contact, that's okay. But if you know right now on the inside that what I'm saying is resonating with you, if you know that I'm talking to you, there's a great chance that no contact is on your horizon. And rather than panic and cut all your ties today, or shut down at the thought of doing it, I just want you, the next time you interact with your abuser, I just want you to be a passenger and observe that dynamic. Okay. Observe that relationship with your mom, just so you can have an opportunity to see that you're not really present in that relationship. There is no space for you, the real, true, best you that you are. There's no room for that person in that relationship. Just observe it. Realize that showing up to that relationship means putting yourself on a shelf and mutating to become this hybrid version that can sustain abuse, who doesn't have emotional responses, who doesn't have needs of their mom, right? No part of that relationship is about her mothering you. And that is the primary dynamic there. So if that's not what you're getting in your relationship with your mother, that is a huge red flag. And I just want you to see it. Just observe it. Just allow yourself to be a passenger and observe the lack of acknowledgement, the lack of fulfillment. Because the sooner you can see it, the sooner you will decide that you don't want it. Okay, pursuing your freedom means pursuing something that is not going to be present yet. You're going to have to leave. You're going to have to set out after that freedom before you can see it and feel it and taste it and touch it. You're simply going to have to step out on faith and decide that better is an option for you. And so I thank you for letting me deliver this message. I'm sure for those it is really meant for, I know it's not an easy thing to hear. And I can certainly remember sitting in my own room, listening to a YouTube video and just allowing it to hit me. So if that's the space that you're in today, I just want to encourage you, you don't have to move forward from this point by yourself. If you would like support, if you would just like to talk, if you just want to share your story and get some insight, some guidance, for the next 2 weeks, I'm meeting with women for free. We will have a session, but I'm really interested in hearing your story about your relationship with your mother. I have some questions that I want to ask about your current healing journey because I want to know how to best serve you. And I'm preparing to launch a 90-day childhood trauma assessment program where I work with women one on one to do a deep dive through the first 10 or 12 years of their childhood experience to really pinpoint the traumatic experiences, the evidence of abuse, the root cause of problematic behaviors, and tailor it to you so that you can walk away from that 90-day deep dive with a clear understanding of the condition of your inner child right now. And you can be better informed about how to move forward, whether you're working with a therapist, whether you are not in therapy at all and you're still in contact, just whatever point of your journey you're in, better understanding your early childhood trauma is going to help you make informed decisions. So thank you so much for joining me today and tuning in. I look forward to being with you again next time. See you then.